the good, the bad, and the ugly, or just the good? The ugly.
I knew you were going to start with the ugly.
Start with the ugly. I always talk about the finances, but the ugly is that today I sent $5,000 to WHCR because we owe them $50,000 of rent, back rent we didn't pay. Otherwise, they were going to sue us. Why? I gave them a phone number and an address at the national office for the past couple of months. I don't know, 6, 8 months, I don't remember. That the national office didn't respond to them. One. Second, when I was at WHCR, I did manage to really befriend the general manager of WHCR, who really loves BAI, and then they had forgiven us the remaining rent payment. And then that was something that was going to be lived by, like it was a done deal. You just stay, and then once you find a new place, you move out. And we stayed there for 10 months, and no rent. And someone from this board, or from someone from knowledge from the finance committee or somebody, called. They went all the way up to the chairman or chancellor of City College to let them know that we weren't paying rent. So that's why we owe this $50,000. That's one of the uglies. The other ugly is the chargeback, which means that when people pledge, there's a percentage of it they ask the money back, 2.5%. Okay. Global Payment, the company that's been processing our credit cards online and all that stuff, all the payments that come in is processed through that. They decided that they're not going to work with us anymore. And they were going to shut us down by the end of April. So I had to have them on the phone. And then I spoke to, I had Sam come on the phone, because I'll explain to you in a few minutes. The first aspect of the phone is that, first of all, they actually did send me an email that I didn't really see. Just like, Syringe sent me an email that I didn't see. Second, they sent a letter to the national office. They sent a certified letter to the national office that the national office did not address. And so when I finally called them to make sure that they did not shut down that service, that would have stopped us from processing donation to credit card for our pledge drive. Started arguing with them. I told the guy, listen, if you need any information, I can send you all the information in the next 2 days, so forth and so on. And then when I came with all the good arguments with him, and he says, well, your own treasurer is saying that you are not making your payroll, and you're not paying your health benefits, and so forth and so on, and then you are going bankrupt. All the nonsense that we put on the internet. So I had to put Sam on the phone to tell him that these are things that, of course, all regular organizations discuss in private, but we just happen to be with this strange organization where we have to put all these things in public. We do pay our rent, we do pay our payroll. We just do inter-departmental and sub-organizations transactions. So he gave us another month to find another vendor. I found out that he's also getting rid of the processing of any transaction for the entire network, because they go on the internet and find all this junk. So we finally moved very quickly into another company that is a subsidiary of PayPal that does the same thing, and actually they're going to charge us less. We did not have access to our bank account for like 4 weeks because what happened is someone sent us a check in January for $131.47. We made a deposit of like $3,000 or $4,000 that day, and then this one check was a check that was made to Time Warner Cable. It was one of 30 checks. The clerk, the one who died, Danny, takes them, turns them on, and stamps the back, and then we make a deposit. So that check was deposited into our account, and then like 5 months later, in May or April, end of April, Chase discovered, because these people complained, that there was $131 improperly deposited into our account. So they froze our account, and they say it might take over 120 days. So I've been fighting with them forever. And finally I called them and I complained that this was discrimination against a small business and a minority business. And how would you ever freeze Donald Trump's or Bloomberg's account for something of that sort? And then they moved me to the executive office. And at that point, they called me back a few days later, back and forth. We had conversation for 3 days, long conversation. And they finally came up with a reason why they really did not open our account. It's because sometimes we receive check that says WBI Pacifica, sometimes we receive check that says Pacifica, but we are registered only on the Pacifica Foundation. And to tell the truth, I told them this was BS, because we've been doing business with them for 30 years. So I had to send them a copy of a 501c3 incorporation that says Pacifica doing business as WBI in New York. And then they released the funds immediately after that. But that was not a real reason. And then we're going to use that on the air next week to raise money, because we're going to say there was a conspiracy by the bank. That's why we didn't meet our payroll. We were 2 days behind on our payroll because of that. Yeah.
Well, that wasn't any good. Where's the good? Is it the ugly?
As Jeannie pointed out, as far as the participation of the producers, she was very nice. You all know how I feel, and I feel that way. I know that makes me enemies, but I think I am accurate. I think it's time, we bring some new blood.